Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at the all-new 2012 Kia Rio SX. And this is going to be an in-depth educational tour on the all-new Rio. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip and go over the performance data, take it on a quick test drive, and show you a bunch of the unique features of the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's get started up, let it run. The exterior color is in a signal red, and it features a full black cloth interior. Leather interior is also an option, a part of the SX Premium package. Kia really knocked the Rio's interior out of the ballpark compared to its predecessor with increased styling, better build quality, as well as more standard and luxury features. Nicely smooth, light, power-sensitive steering, fully leather wrapped with satin silver accenting coming down across the bottom, as well as grip extensions off to the top, adding to the SX's more sporty feel. There's also two different transmission options available for the Rio, one being a standard 6-speed manual found only in the base model LX trim, and the EX and SX's standard 6-speed automatic gearbox with manual shiftability, nice clean, crisp shifts, and once you put it in reverse, it automatically pops up a little backup camera with guidance lines. Accented with modest chrome, satin silver accenting, followed into a leather shift boot. And so, we're going to cut on the headlamps, they're automatic, fog lamps, as well as the hazards. Fully automatic driver's side window, and we're going to check out the exterior, shall we? The Kia Rio lineup across the board has been completely redesigned for 2012 and basically been improved in essentially every way, from build quality to standard features, even dimensions. The Rio in sedan and hatchback form are larger, which translates into more passenger as well as cargo room. The SX is the top trim level and comes with standard projector halogen headlamps, LED accented, with LED rear lamps, lower inset chrome accented fog lamps, as well as an overall sportier body style and unique wheels and a sport-tuned suspension. We'll touch on that a little bit more during the test drive video. Style was definitely a forefront of the new Kia Rio's redesign. Basically, you see all these styling lines coming in from the back quarter panel blend into the driver's door, creating a little bit of a side scoop. The fenders are also accented mildly. And on the SX model, you have a standard set of unique 17-inch aluminum alloy wheels with polished aluminum face and high-gloss black painted inserts. Four-wheel disc brakes, ABS, traction stability control, mounted on 205/45 tires. It definitely gives a quite a unique look and in my opinion very reminiscent to a Volkswagen GTI. Now, like I touched a little bit on during the transmission portion, there's actually several different trim levels available for the Rio, each differing in styling, performance, and options. You have the base model LX, then you have the mid-range EX, and then you have this model, the SX. You actually have one model above this one known as the SX Premium, which comes with things like smart key access, push-button ignition, sunroof, leather, heated seats, navigation, you name it, it pretty much has it all. You also have LED accented turn signal mirrors that are not only powered, but are power folding. Pretty awesome for a car in this segment. Up in the upper trim levels of the SX, you also have LED tail lamps in the back, like I mentioned with the LED accented headlamps. Now, the back end you could definitely tell is a much more bold styling versus the previous model Rio. You have a little integrated rear spoiler with third brake light, the modest badging on the exterior with gasoline direct injection, as well as your rear backup camera as I showed you earlier. The Rio is 159.3 inches long with a width of 57.3 inches and a height of 67.7 inches. Total curb weight is around 2,483 pounds. So let's go and pop the hood. All models of the Rio now come with an all-new 1.6-liter dual overhead cam 16-valve 4-cylinder with variable valve timing as well as direct injection. Puts out around 138 horsepower at 6,300 RPM and 123 foot-pounds of torque at around 4,850 RPM. It is front-wheel drive with a front independent suspension featuring McPherson struts and a torsion beam rear suspension with front and rear stabilizer bars. And with an 11.4-gallon fuel tank running on regular and leaded gas, the Rio has an estimated miles per gallon rating of around 30 city, 40 highway. The Rio also has a 0 to 60 time of around 9.5 seconds with a 16.8 second quarter mile at around 83 miles an hour. Top speed is an electronically governed 124 miles an hour. And while it doesn't sound like much, it definitely holds its own as far as putting up the numbers compared to the competition in the rest of the subcompact market. Not too bad. The interior build quality, like I was saying earlier, is vastly improved compared to its predecessor. What Kia has essentially done is take a bland, more subdued interior and make it an actual competitive and very stylish, well-built interior. But the interior also functions as good as it looks. Plenty of curves coming across the door panel with your lower storage down below, padded insert coming across here, as well as a soft touch material also put across the whole door handle here to give it a little bit more of a refined feel. Like you saw, all of your power windows are located here, power locks, power mirrors, and your optional power assist mirrors for parking, car washes, etc. Features fully manual seating with manual height adjustment on the driver's seat, modest amount of bolstering with side airbags, and a little bit of a unique pattern coming across the middle of the seat. Also features adjustable headrests and adjustable seat belts. Unique logoed floor mats. Aluminum sport pedals are part of the SX package, as well as a beautifully restyled dash housing a manual tilting telescoping steering wheel, and also featured a padded insert coming across the speedometer cluster. So let's go and see how she sounds. And we're going to shut her up. Nice solid door panels. The Rio is perfect for a city vehicle. It's got pretty peppy and lively acceleration on startup. The steering is nice and light. And has a pretty quick turning radius. And the good thing about the Rio in the SX trim is with that Sport Tune suspension, it handles the road like a dream. You can just plant it into any of those curves and it handles in a very un-economy car-like manner. Feels very poised, nice and tight. But I'm going to take it on a quick highway run, get a little acceleration pass. Just to recap, the Rio has around 140 horsepower and 123 foot-pounds of torque, and giving it a 0 to 60 time of around 9.5 to 9.7 seconds or something like that, which is pretty competitive for the subcompact market. It's definitely not slow, especially for a lighter vehicle. We'll put it in manual mode. The manual mode is nice and crisp. Pretty smooth shifts, not a whole lot of lag. Definitely makes the driving experience a little bit more fun and sporty. Get a little acceleration clip in automatic mode. Again, not too bad. And with those four-wheel disc brakes, it has a nice amount of stopping power, like I mentioned earlier in the engine portion. The engine does get a little bit noisier on higher revs and things like that, so in my opinion it could use a little bit more sound deadening, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit more of a throatier sound too, so you get a little bit more of that pronounced engine noise, which I really like. And if you're gearing a specific model to more of a sports car-like theme, then I think that's actually pretty important. It all depends on the certain taste of the buyers. Now, I also mentioned previously that the vehicle has an active eco system, which basically is activated by a little button, which I'll show in just a second on the left-hand side of the dash. Basically what that does is it actually gears and changes the performance of the car a little bit, limiting it to actually maximize the economic performance and reach that promised 40 miles to a gallon. Essentially making the car shift quicker and at a lower RPM. The car is actually a lot more sluggish under active eco mode, so if you're driving on the highway and passing, I recommend not using this function very often. Now, compared to the previous generation Rio, it was pretty much a disposable vehicle. Build quality was not that great, it was more of a rental car type vehicle, so kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. With the new Rio, Kia definitely set the bar high with all of the increased build quality, spirited driving, and different performance options. At least with the SX trim, you get basically what looks like a Volkswagen GTI for a fraction of the cost. You don't have the same performance, but you have that stiffer, more sport-tuned suspension. So it's a nice blend of both worlds for people who are kind of on a budget mindset. This Rio comes with Kia's Uvo Telemetrics voice-activated interface with LCD touchscreen in the center, premium audio system, and in-dash CD player with Sirius satellite radio. Little quarter windows up to the side there with your tweeters mounted in the A-pillar, side curtain airbags, your microphone for your Bluetooth telephone. Flip that little light on, you close it, automatically shuts it off. Manual dimming rear view mirror, and your interior illumination up top with LED accenting. Simple to use climate control system with high gloss backing, as well as satin silver trim with chrome accented buttons and switchgear. All of your fan speed, different zones, front defrost, and temperature. Down below you have your little toggle switches for your AC, rear defrost, recycling, as well as vent. And as you come down the center console, in the little storage cubby down below here, you have two 12-volt power outlets, USB, auxiliary interface, or a unique cable for your iPod that connects the two simultaneously and will charge it while you're playing your iPod. Two cup holders, padded center armrest that slides out, and a nice little storage well. As far as the audio interface, it's pretty simple, and I actually like this little mini touchscreen. You can also get an optional navigation system, usually a part of the SX Premium package. But like I said above here, you have your single disc in-dash CD player, hands-free Bluetooth streaming of audio, as well as your Sirius satellite radio. Media down below there is for your integrated CD player as well as auxiliary, iPod, all that interface. Jukebox. You can actually put CDs in and rip songs onto the hard drive inside and store it. It's kind of like an integrated iPod within the system. Phone. The main menu for numbers, storing contacts, connections, voice dialing, and the like. System setup. Main, setting up your voice command system as well as the volume, display settings, and system information. Also, as you saw earlier, you have your clock set here, but when you turn the radio off, a little analog clock appears that you can also turn off. Pretty simple. Seek, track, changing the category of your Sirius.
This one is
essentially scrolling through them. And when you're scrolling through between the channels, when you select one that you want, you just have to press down for enter. As far as the steering wheel controls, you have your cruise control located off to the right here, as well as your voice-activated UVO interface. FM 100.3. Pretty cool. And if you hit this again and say help, it'll actually run through the commands for you. Help.
Here are some examples of radio commands. Radio FM, Radio 94.9 FM, Radio AM preset 1. What's playing? For help with other modes, say more help after the beep.
More help.
Which feature would you like help with? Radio, Sirius, media, jukebox, phone, or general?
General.
Here are some examples of general commands. Go back, exit, help, repeat. Please see the screen for a complete list.
It's actually a pretty nice system. Probably one of the most responsive and thought out systems I've seen in a Kia and or a Hyundai vehicle. It's very soft, pleasant voice and not feel like you're having to listen to some hard to understand computerized voice or something like that. Radio controls located off to the left, hands-free phone control down below, as well as your little driver information system and trip computer located in the unique gauge cluster specific to the SX. Your average fuel economy, instantaneous, speed, trip, as well as distance still empty. You can also reset it if you want. But what's neat about this gauge cluster, I'll talk about this a little bit later also, is that while these gauges are pretty much flat, this one has like a three-dimensional texture to it, so the needle is actually positioned behind that driver info system, so it gives it quite a unique look, especially at night. Your traction control, display brightness, and like I said, your active eco button located down below. Alrighty. And we're going to shut her down. The back seat also has a pretty reasonable room for a subcompact. Similar styling to the back door following the front door patterns. And featuring a full bench seat that also folds, and we'll show that during the trunk portion. I'm about 5'10", and with the seat position like I was sitting earlier, I probably have about 2 inches to 2.5 inches of leg space, probably about 1.5 to 2 inches of head space. We also have little coat hooks. And we're going to check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? The good thing everybody knows about hatchbacks is their practicality in the back. Generous amount of cargo space with a deep cargo well, little side storage pockets, and it's also illuminated. You can remove this little cover here if you had to stow some taller items. Just pops right out. And then pull these little toggle switches up here and just easily fold the seat down. And it expands to a very nice 49.8 cubic feet. You also have manual adjustments to the passenger seat, like I said, minus the height adjustment. Good size glove box. Kia definitely hit the nail on the head with the all-new Rio. Beautiful sporty styling, fantastic features, as well as improvements in build quality, powertrain and performance. It's an overall better vehicle and therefore a much more competitive vehicle in today's subcompact market. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at the all-new 2012 Kia Rio. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.